Guys, hope you guys are doing well. This is the final installment for our Queen of Media, Madam Oprah Winfrey. So guys, today what we're going to be doing, we're going to be diving right back into human design, but with a twist. We're actually going to be looking at her Wikipedia profile with her bio, and we're going to begin to see how things lining up. So stay tuned, guys. Like, share, subscribe if you're getting value from this, and if you want to know how to do your human design or to get your results, guys, you can hit me up. I have information at the end of this video, guys, so stick around. Gonna catch you in a bit. Bye bye.
This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only.
All right, folks, so I'm back. My name is Dwayne Alleyne, life and business coach, and over here at Outcome Control Business Solutions, we help people to be able to overcome obstacles that can be keeping them away from their goals, from their visions, their aspirations, by showing them how to make high quality, high accurate decisions so that they can actually control the quality of their life. So today we're diving right back into Madam Oprah Winfrey. And a matter of fact, if these things are true, because when we look at her bio and we look at her human design profile, if these things are lining up, then what that means for us, for you and for me, is that we are observing somebody who would have made high quality decisions in her life that has resulted in the life and the lifestyle that she has today, versus a human design where we put in her information in there outside of her name so that AI doesn't infer or inject anything about her. It's just a random person with the same birth information to see if it lines up. And so now if those things are true, then you have a better chance of believing in what it is we are talking about. And what I'm excited about next week, we're going to be taking a look at Mr. Jeffrey Dahmer or Mr. Adolf Hitler. Which one should I do? As a matter of fact, I'm going to do both of them. Because again, if these things are true, whether your life turned out to be positive, quote unquote, or negative, quote unquote, we should be able to see it embedded in the human design. So let's dive into Oprah, guys. Hope you have your pen and pad ready. Hope you're ready to have some fun. Get your popcorn, get your tea, get your notepad, whatever it might be. Let this be entertainment for you as well too. But let's dive right in. All right, folks. So we're back here. So on your screen, you'll be seeing 3 pages, right? You're going to be seeing number 1, a Word document with Oprah Winfrey, her design. In the middle here, you're going to be seeing something called what we call a body graph, that when you input your information, it gives you all of this here, which I would have touched on a little bit in the beginning of the last video with Oprah, right? The 9 centers, the different channels, the different gates, the defined centers, the undefined centers, what those things actually mean. And if you want to learn more about these things, I'll tell you, I'm not the professional at it. There are so many professionals out there in the world of YouTube. I'll probably leave a link to their video, maybe somewhere around here. And so you could click on that and go and learn more about human design if you desire to. That is not my portfolio at this time. My portfolio is looking at different people who would have either achieved great, tremendous success, or people who we would have deemed total and extreme failures, even to the point of serial killers, to see, okay, are these things lining up? And if they are, I hope and pray and beg that, and it encourages you to get your human design done so that you could make better quality decisions, which will ultimately create better outcomes and a better quality life for you and your loved ones. All right, guys, so off the bat, we're looking at Oprah Winfrey on the far right here. This is our Wikipedia page, and we're looking at her design here. So we know that she's a generator. That means her strategy is to respond. That means that there's this sacral, this big red one. I'm a generator as well too. So we have to respond, right? So how it works for me, I have to ask myself the question and I immediately get the answer. If I think too much or I overthink too much, I will think myself out of ideas. I'll think myself out of opportunities. So I have to not rely on my thinking. I have to rely on this internal response system that comes up whenever I ask the question. And that's something that you all have to learn And it's interesting because we'll see if Oprah would have learned those things earlier on in life. So, so let's start. Let's kind of scroll down here. Again, decision-making style. I just highlighted that. It needs emotional clarity over time rather than making impulsive decisions, because she has that emotional solar plexus. That's her inner authority. And just for you to understand, that is that wrong triangle here, right, that I'm circling here. That's the solar plexus right there, and that's her inner authority. Also too, she has a sacral, which we see that's connected to her center. So I'm not going to go into all these readings. Like I said, I have people who are professionals at this. My job is to see if their design, human design, matches up with the outcome of their life. Because if she did make quality decisions in her life for her to be where she is at, then I can only imagine, if you look at her human design, it should match up, or we should at least get connections there. And if we do this enough times with enough people, then I think that the results will be overwhelmingly for that the human design project or program is something that you should do, or at least look into. All right, so again, Oprah Winfrey, born Oprah Gail Winfrey, American talk show host, television producer, actress, author, media proprietor. She's best known for a talk show, The Oprah Winfrey Show. But what is interesting here, she was dubbed the Queen of all media. Queen of all media. And not media and Persia, right? Media. And so again, these things are things that we would have covered in the last session. So I'm just going to be jumping back and forth from these screens here. That's why I have them all up, so that we could make some of these connections, right? So if you scroll all the way down here, you see here, based upon her environment, markets external. And again, this just kind of talks about the best environment that's suited for her to create success, right? Would be an environment where she can thrive in high energy, dynamic environments where ideas and opportunities flow, sort of like a talk show, which is best suited for places where they can interact with a variety of people, like business hubs, events, or even media. And here she is, the Queen of Media. Is that by coincidence, or is it by her design? Watch this. In 2007, or by 2007 rather, she was often ranked as the most influential person or influential woman in the world. Look just a little bit above here. Perspective power. Sees life through the lens of influence and leadership. That's how she sees life, which is interesting again. Let's scroll down here. So she was born into poverty in rural Mississippi, single teenage mother, right? Interesting here. She has stated that she was molested during her childhood and early teenage years and became pregnant at 14, which would have been extreme trauma there, right? Or traumatizing. And I wonder, is that connected to her emotions? Because I could only imagine, and I sympathize with anybody who would have experienced that type of trauma in their life. But I can only imagine the emotional trauma, right? Apart from the physical trauma of it, the emotional trauma, and knowing that her inner authority is that solar plexus, that emotion. From the get, she knows exactly what she wants and exactly what she don't want, just by that experience alone. But that was terrible there, right? Terrible. We don't wish that on our worst enemy. But it goes on to say, by 19, she was a co-anchor for local evening news at age 19, right? So she figured this thing out early. Winfrey's often emotional, extemporaneous delivery eventually led her to transfer to the daytime talk show arena. Interesting. Emotional. Let's go, because somehow I felt like we covered some of that as well too. Look at this here. Well, again, the emotion ties into our solar plexus, but look at this gates here, 19 and 49. And 1949, you can see that's where the root connects to that solar plexus, that emotional center there. It says, has a deep understanding of human needs, fairness, and justice. That's exactly what it just said here. Let me find it. By 19, right? Winfrey's often emotional extemporaneous delivery eventually. So that emotional extemporaneous delivery we can definitely connect that to having a deep understanding of human needs, fairness, and justice to play on that emotional side of people. And it also says here, may be drawn to causes that uplift people and create change. Interesting. Let's go again. It goes on to say here, credited with creating a more intimate confessional form of media communication, Winfrey popularized and revolutionized the tabloid talk show genre pioneered by Mr. Phil Donahue. Now, I don't know if you know about Phil Donahue, but you could probably Google him and see who this guy is, because again, back then, we're talking about a highly dominated, male environment. This whole media. And forget about it, radio and talk show. And to be a young black woman, to be able to rise in that arena says something. Now, this was connected to something as well too that we would have looked at. So let me see if I could find that. Now watch this. It says here, perspective power. Look at this. Often interested in understanding authority structures and how people rise to power. Could you guys make that connection there? See that connection? Her understanding of authority structures and how people rise to power, because she has an interest in that based upon her human design, go figure, she was able to popularize and revolutionize that tabloid talk show genre that was pioneered by Phil Donahue in a male-dominated arena or environment. It's something special here, something significant that we're looking at. Look at this here. Winfrey had reinvented her show with a focus on literature, self-improvement, mindfulness, and spirituality. I think it had something on that as well too, somewhere in there, right? May experience mental breakthroughs that influence others. Let's see. So let me just read the final insights here, right? So this person is intuitive, influential, for sure, deeply insightful. Their power comes from connecting with the right people, sharing their wisdom, all right, that self-improvement part of it, and using their emotional clarity to make strong decisions, right? By following the generator strategy, waiting to respond, trusting their instincts, and embracing social network, they can achieve massive impact in the world, which she has done. She's definitely done that. So yeah, I don't know if this hitting the nail on the head for you guys, but I kind of getting a little goosebumpy here. Deeply aware of human needs and emotional undercurrents. That's a big one there. Watch this here. Reflects on the past to guide others towards healing and transformation. Winfrey reinvented her show with a focus on literature, self-improvement, mindfulness, and spirituality, guiding others towards healing and transformation. Are you all seeing that connection between a finished product and what is at the foundation of our design? Again, we didn't put Oprah Winfrey's name in there, so this by all means is a random person that shares the same birth data as Oprah. I don't know if you guys seen how this is connected, and I hope your belief level is going up at least. Anyway, so having an emotion-centered approach, again, has deeply aware of human needs and emotional undercurrents. So that emotional centered approach worked for her because it's natural to her, and it's the same thing that you will find for yourself as you do it. She has also been praised for overcoming adversity to become a benefactor to others. So that whole idea of others is absolutely significant. Winfrey has also emerged as a political force in 2008 presidential race with her endorsement of Barack Obama. That is that whole connection. Because when you look at her line, her 2-4 line, hermit and opportunist, of course her hermit has a natural talent or genius that emerges effortlessly. We could look at Oprah and see how she conducts herself in interviews and talk shows, etc., and it looks effortless. But she also needs time alone to recharge. But look at this. This opportunist line builds success through networking and relationships, thrives on trust and strong connections rather than cold outreach. Opportunities come through people they already know. And look at this here. Her theme, the incarnation cross, influence, communication, visionary leadership. So with all these connections that she has, from the president to some of the elites in the world, you are seeing how all of these things are absolutely connected. And then it goes into her early life, etc., etc. And again, it goes back over that story of being, SA'd, which is a real terrible story. And then it goes into television. So again, you could read up all of these things. I'll try to put a link to these documents in the bio so that you can access it and you can look it up for yourself to see how these things are all connected. And I tell you guys, I don't know about you, but just based upon what we covered so far, the thing that produced success for Madam Oprah Winfrey is the same exact thing that is highlighted in her human design. The emotional aspect, right? Being in touch with that emotional side of her, making those decisions in clarity. We looked at the connections. We looked at the fact that she was able to grow in media. We also looked at the fact that she's deeply aware of human needs and emotional undercurrents and able to guide others towards transformation. We looked at it in the Wikipedia where it talks about that spirituality and guiding people for personal development and self-improvement. We looked at that as well too, self-improvement, mindfulness, and spirituality. She has a way in which she can share wisdom in a way that influences others. We see that she's a very strong, very influential. As a matter of fact, it said that earlier where she was dubbed one of the most influential women in the 21st century or whatever it was, right? Look at some here. Oh yeah, in the world, she was ranked as the most influential woman in the world. And she has a wisdom in a way that influences others. I mean, you tell me, what the hell? Also, too, we looked at influence and leadership. We covered that. Interested in understanding authority structures and how people rise to power. Have a definite strong understanding of that. Being able to rise to a billionaire in a male-dominated arena is amazing. Why? Because she understands the authority structures and how people rise to power. Oh, you can't get it clearer than that. You know what I'm saying? And then lastly, guys, we covered best suited for places where they can interact with a variety of people, business hubs, events, and media. And of course, we highlighted she was dubbed the queen of all media. Guys, I don't know if you can get more clear than that, but for your sakes and for mine, we're going to look at some other people next week on the negative side. Because if these things are true for Elon Musk, also for Oprah Winfrey, we'll also look at President Donald Trump. We'll also look at maybe a Mr. Vladimir Putin, and then some other people that we might take a look at. But we're going to be doing these things to show us proof, right, that are these things true? Where you can ask yourself the question, is it true? And folks, you don't have to worry about having to pay for this if it is you are interested in doing your own design. As a matter of fact, there are plenty of videos online of how to go about doing it. But if you need to have your own personal assessment done, you can hit me up. My information will be at the end of this video. But I have a lot of fun sharing this information because it's empowering me, as I hope it's empowering you. So folks, I will catch you on the next one, which will be next week, coming pretty soon. And we're going to be looking at the dark side of the human design in the form of one of these two characters, right? So have a safe one, guys. Catch you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay blessed. Yeah.
This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The Human Design Project is a framework for self-discovery and personal insight, not a definitive science. Our analysis is based on publicly available information and should not be considered factual or absolute. We do not claim to know the private thoughts, experiences, or personal beliefs of any individuals discussed. Furthermore, our discussion is not intended to defame, mislead, or misrepresent any public figure. We respect their privacy and contributions to society. Any insights shared are speculative interpretations meant to foster discussion, self-reflection, and a deeper understanding of human design concepts. Listeners are encouraged to explore these ideas with an open mind and conduct their own research. Contact Life and Business Coach Dwayne J. Alleyne at 868-333-8048 to conduct your complimentary assessment today.